Welcome to FireHouse Chefs. I'm your host, Eddie Sell, and I will take you on a journey with America's chefs, firefighters, service industry professionals, and more as we discuss food, recipes, nutrition, and lifestyle topics. Stay tuned and enjoy the ride. Very nice. Nice way to start the show. Welcome to FHC Radio, everybody out there in the FireHouse Chefs community. You are watching and listening to FHC Radio on the Rant Radio Network. Again, our phone number is 855-969-RANT, 855-969-7268, for those of you that can't understand the rant part, because I know I can't do that. I'm like, what does that mean, or the corresponding numbers or whatever to the rant part. So welcome back, and today is actually episode 7 of FireHouse Chefs Radio, so we are very, very proud of that, and it's awesome to kind of see all the thousands of people that have so far tuned in to watch the show, and we're getting some really, really great feedback. We really appreciate it, and it's very, very exciting watching our audience continue to grow week after week. We're also working on some of the kinks as far as archiving the show once the episode airs here at the Rant Radio Network. They're putting it on their website. You can also find it on YouTube, so we're trying to find a better way, and I think our engineer, Arvin, tonight is going to let us know kind of what to tell everybody out there on how to really find us in a quicker, more expedient way. So I am happy to be joined by my co-host and co-pilot. Chef Don is back in the house tonight. For those of you that were watching last week, I was flying solo, and Chef Don was actually in Louisiana on a fire service related business trip. So welcome back, Chef. We're happy to have you.
My pleasure to be back.
Okay, and tonight's show, we're really, really excited to basically pick up where we left off last week, and we're going to be talking about the great topic of Mexican cuisine. And it's a perfect topic because we obviously have a great guest tonight that's a pretty renowned chef, especially in the Latin community. She's very, very well known. Chef Lala is going to be calling in tonight, and she's going to have a lot of things to say just about Mexican cuisine and obviously her products, her inspiration as far as why she chose to get into cooking, why she chose the path of becoming a chef, and obviously some of the great things that she does with the community and for kids in particular. So it's going to be very, very cool to have her on tonight's show.
Now, you've actually cooked with her, haven't you, Chef?
I have. I've actually done some things, some different nonprofit events, and it's been pretty fun being able to kind of, as you know, whenever you work with another chef and get to kind of see what they do or their different skills or their techniques, it's all different. Whether they were, we were classically trained obviously together, but or the both of us rather. The differences are kind of cool though, based on obviously who their mentors were, what sort of techniques they picked up on, and what sort of things they embrace. So there's nothing better than cooking with other chefs that are able to teach you. Yes, we concur.
That's our director-producer helping us out there.
Yes. So, and again, it's nice to have Arvin in the booth tonight. He's been vacationing at, was it the Betty Ford Center, or where was it, Arvin? Just making sure, buddy. But we missed him, and last week we had an engineer Phil in the booth, and Phil did actually a marvelous job. So along with Chef Lala calling in, we might have another surprise guest, possibly. We shall see how the lovely Southern California traffic treats that person, and we'll go from there on that one. And, of course, we invite your phone calls. We've had some great callers that call in and ask questions related to the culinary world, fire service, fitness, nutrition topics, any of those lifestyle things. This is your show to call in, and if you have a comment, if you're a firefighter anywhere around the country and you want to tell us about your recipes or what you do in your firehouse or the things that basically set you apart from other stations, other departments, other cities, that's exactly what we want to know about. So if you're looking at us right now at the rantradionetwork.com site or firehousechefs.com, there's a picture of Chef Don and I. and we are cutting on the beautiful FireHouse board made by our buddy in San Diego County, Jess Hartnett. And Jess actually is going to be a guest on a upcoming episode of FHC Radio, and he actually is going to bring some of the samples of the beautiful custom-made boards that he makes. So we're looking forward to having Jess Hartnett on the show in the next couple of months here. It's going to be great. Chef, thank you. I wanted to also talk about another topic that we're going to bring up tonight, along with Mexican food, is peppers. Obviously, there are a ton of peppers out there in the dried versus fresh variety. There are lots of different uses, and they have really, really become a multicultural ingredient. So it's going to be fun to have Chef Lala on with us, and we can ask her questions about her use of peppers and maybe her favorite peppers to use in her recipes and her dishes. And then we can obviously talk about some of the things that we like to do with them. And then we invite our callers to ask questions or give us a little bit of insight on what they do with their peppers, if they have any great recipes or tricks. Obviously, everybody usually wants to know what the hottest pepper is, and we'll discuss all that. So that's going to be something cool that goes hand in hand with Mexican food and just Latin food in general.
Hey, Chef, I got a question for you. If you were to compare your style and Chef Lala's style, where do you guys fall there? Because I've not had the opportunity to cook with her, but I've done quite a bit of cooking with you. Take a few minutes and let's tell our guests and our other firefighters out there, give us a little bit of your style and compare it to hers, since you do know hers.
Chef Lala, number one, she is, I would have to say that she's used to more of the refined. She actually kind of mocked me and said, like, wow, like our styles are so different. And obviously she's used to a little bit more the refined style and I think more of the intricate details, which in my background, especially when I was a personal chef for the Admiral, we did a lot more detail-oriented dishes, a lot of stuff that was heavily garnished. The flavor profiles were a little bit different. All in all, I think the way my style has evolved now is the fact that especially kind of blending comfort food classics, if you will, with refined cooking, I think that's exactly what has defined FireHouse chefs. So if you think about what we've created on our gourmet food truck here in Southern California, or my chef experience at the restaurant level, or some of the other projects that we've done, I try to incorporate all the refined cooking skills and culinary skills that I learned with just modern, everyday cooking at your house, cooking at your fire station, taking some of those recipes that we're all kind of used to having ever since we were kids, and taking them to that next level.
Okay, and I've also seen you, and again on our food truck,
Mm-hmm.
where you have gone with some of the recipes and then we've taken it on the truck, is I've noticed you have infused some Asian flavors and a little bit of that cuisine into the style that is now what we're calling FireHouse chefs.
I have, and you'll know that we've actually coined. I came up with the phrase, if you will, FireHouse fusion food, and that's exactly what it is. The fact that the inspiration behind that is the fact that today's fire service just basically it reflects America, and America is very, very diverse, and today's fire service is very, very diverse. So I kind of came up with something that was able to showcase all those different things. And what's funny is you'll find that even though I have a Hispanic background myself, there's a lot of tricks within Hispanic cooking where you'll use soy sauce, for example, to marinate your carne asada, which most people would say, like, huh? How'd you find that out? Well, you actually found that out from your abuelito or your grandfather or your grandmother that's been doing that for decades. And it's those cool things like that, and that's hence the word fusion, like truly taking those Asian flavors. And it's really, really interesting how a story like that even evolved. It could have literally been like somebody in your family decades ago that was in the restaurant industry that worked with an Asian cook. And, literally those two guys kind of got together and said, hey, have you ever tried this instead of salt? you might want to try this flavor profile, and people are going to be guessing as to what's in your meat, what's behind that marinade, and that's as you know, that's exactly what we've tried to create on the Firehouse Chef's food truck and our menu. Anytime we cater, anytime we do any of those things, we really try to be very, very resourceful. We think about what's in season. We think about local ingredients, all those things. We truly,
You do.
yeah, we truly think about them, and that's what we do. That's
Okay.
what defines us.
And this is a perfect opportunity for me to throw a plug out to the Firehouse Chef's food truck. If the firefighters out there and our civilian friends and followers have not tried it, you got to try our food. It's outstanding. You will not be going to another truck after you eat at ours.
That's very true. Yeah, and to the guys out there, they're probably not. Hopefully, they're not listening because that means they're not cooking. But they're in West Los Angeles right now at a food truck event for a Wednesday night concert. So we really appreciate our Firehouse Chefs team. And as things continue to grow, you guys are the backbone that makes the thing run smooth and run strong. So we really appreciate everybody's hard work out there. Well, when we come back, and real quick, you'll notice that Chef Don is wearing a T-shirt that is basically in memory of the Granite Mountain Hotshots that passed away on June 30th, the 19 firefighters that gave all that day. And obviously, I was in Arizona for the services, so we'll let Chef Don kind of talk about that T-shirt. And there are a lot of great things that are happening right now in terms of fundraising and that sort of thing to give to those family members that were left behind. So that's why Chef Don is wearing this for the first half of the show. And I would have done the same thing, except he didn't bring me one that fit me. So
I'm not even going to go there. Yeah, the shirt I'm wearing is in memory of Kevin Wojak, one of the hot shots, and the Wojak family. This T-shirt was purchased to help support the families of all the fallen hot shots, and it was an honor for me to do that and an honor for me to wear this tonight, just thinking of Kevin.
Thank you very much, Chef Don. Again, you're listening to Firehouse Chefs Radio, 855-969 Rant, 855-969-RANT. Chef Lala when we return from the commercial break. Thank you. Don't burn anything down. Firehouse Chefs will be right back.
Wow, y'all listening to Rant Radio Network. Unpredictably entertaining. Wow.
All right, parents, if you have kids in sports, then you need to listen to Kids in Sports with Coach Mike every Tuesday from 9 to 11 on the Rant Radio Network. We'll be talking softball and much more. Help your kids succeed. Teach first, win later. Coach Mike here. We'll see you on Tuesday in the Rant Radio Network.
Dirty Truth Radio Show, where we'll be talking about relationships,
marriage,
how to have sex,
dating,
first dating,
what not to do while dating.
why middle-aged women are very easy.
Don't talk about sex on the first date.
Why shouldn't you?
Don't say X about on the first date.
Why religion should never be mentioned.
And demasculate.
And demasculating men.
Alpha males.
And alpha male. Why women love alpha males but won't admit it.
Yes, we do.
On Tuesdays from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. only on RantRadioNetwork.com.
You're listening to the Mommy Talk, a place where mommies,
and don't forget dads,
can share their everyday accomplishments.
and challenges, y mucho más. So tune in every Friday here at RantRadioNetwork.com from 11 through 12.
And don't forget to call in at 855-969-RANT. The number is 855-969-RANT.
You can follow us on Facebook at The Mommy Talk Show.
See you then.
You're listening to What Honesty Feels Like with Christine Sawicki, that airs every Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can catch us on RantRadioNetwork.com. If you're one of the most successful people in the world, I want to talk to you. I want to know how you got there, where you're going, and who you're giving back to. So call me at 855-969-7268 and check in with me, the most successful people in the world.
A home is the biggest investment in most people's lives. Buying or selling should be a positive experience.
Whether you want to be a wealthy real estate investor or just trying to find a place to call home. At AGR & Associates, we focus on the client's needs.
We understand the market better than most. Let us bring the value to you and make the right choice.
AGR & Associates, making your dream house a reality. Call us today for a free consultation at 562-882-1976. Or you can log on to www.agrrealtors.com.
With a track record of great results, bringing knowledge, wisdom, and expertise to you. Hablamos español.
Welcome to FireHouse Chefs. I'm your host, Eddie Sell, and I will take you on a journey with America's chefs, firefighters, service industry professionals, and more as we discuss food, recipes, nutrition, and lifestyle topics. Stay tuned and enjoy the ride. Welcome back to FHC Radio. I'm your host, Eddie Sell, and again, I am joined by my co-host, Chef Don. Welcome back, Chef Don. You're listening to FHC Radio on the Rant Radio Network. Just remember, you can watch us and hear us every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the rantradionetwork.com. Also, you can see us at firehousechefs.com. And our phone number is 855-969-RANT, 855-969-RANT, or 7268 for those of you that are challenged like I am. So, again, our topic tonight is Mexican cuisine. We're going to cover some peppers, but right now we are joined by
Chef Lala's calling in there, Chef.
Perfect timing. We have Chef Lala on the line, so we are going to go ahead and pick up the phone right now and say hello to Chef Lala. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi, you're on Firehouse Chefs Radio with Eddie Sell and Chef Don.
Hey, Eddie. Hi, Chef.
Hi, Chef. How are you doing this evening?
I am fantastic.
Outstanding.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Chef Lala. And we wanted to start. I know that you actually have been incredibly busy lately. And for those of you that are looking, we're looking at our screen right now, and there's some pictures of Chef Lala. And as we kind of go through these, are you able to see the feed right now at home on your laptop, Chef, or?
I am.
Okay, perfect.
I figured it out. So for those of you who don't know how to figure it out, on top it says watch, because I searched in your guy's name, I did everything, but the way I finally got it to work, it says watch live broadcast now, and I finally got it to work, because before I could just hear you. So if anybody's struggling like I was, now you got it.
Okay, you hear that, Arvin, in the booth? Yeah, he hears you, so it sounds like we have a couple things to work on. But as the pictures are kind of going past our screen right now, you can mention anything that you want about them, and we'll kind of do this continuously, Chef. So I wanted to ask you, though, I know you've been incredibly busy with an array of projects, and I know actually you were busy today doing something in particular with your healthy eating campaign. Do you want to start off with what you did today and what that is all about?
Yeah, I actually was out in UCLA. I was teaching a class or being a keynote speaker, actually, for the LAUSD. They're really big on trying to promote healthy eating now with the kids, better lunches. It's called I'm In. And so it was a really good thing to go out there and just be part of that and motivate our lunch ladies who feed our kids every day. So that was fantastic. I actually wanted to head over to you guys to the studio, but there's no way I could have made it to two places at once. But I'm glad to be here with you anyways. But listen, Eddie, I want to tell you something.
Yes.
I was listening to your broadcast, and you were talking about soy sauce to marinate carne asada.
Yes.
So I need to tell you how that happened.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Okay, so the story is behind, because I was actually selling, I was meeting with one of the people at Whole Foods, and they said, oh, soy sauce, that's not Mexican. How did you get soy sauce in your marinade?
Right.
And so I did some homework on it, and the way it happened was when the railroads were being built in Texas, they brought the Chinese over to build them. And they were laborers. That's what they were doing.
Right.
And once the railroads were built, they said, okay, we're done with you, leave. And they pushed them kind of down south to Mexico. And so there was a lot of people who were Chinese that actually worked in Mexico in the kitchens. And that's where the influence came in. It wasn't somebody that worked at a restaurant once. It was actually it was a complete 100% person who was Chinese all the way that walked into these restaurants and started cooking. And they also worked in homes because so they brought in their fusion and their flavors into what is Mexican cuisine. So that's the answer.
You see what you turn into FHC Radio, and you guys are going to become culinary scholars out there. So, and that's so. Thank you for that, though. And see, I knew it came from somewhere.
There you go. We learn something new every day.
We do. Okay, so why don't we get back to your career and how that started? What made you decide to go down the path of cooking and become a chef?
Well, I grew up with a family of restaurateurs, and initially I didn't want to become a chef because I thought that meant being in the restaurant every day. And I remember there were so many sacrifices that were made on behalf of my parents, for our behalf, of course, but I just thought of it as something that where you just stayed day and night and worked. And that part of it's accurate. But since I'm not a restaurateur, I own a catering company, I have a little bit more flexibility. And as a mommy, it gives me more flexibility also to be able to be with my son and with my family. So in any case, I started off with the hard knocks of the restaurant life and helping my family out. My father's one of those people who could throw things in a pot and make them absolutely fantastic. Mm-hmm. And it was that made me want to go to culinary school to learn how it was to repeat that, to continuously do that. But I heard Chef asking you what it was that the differences are between you and I think that the differences is that I really concentrate on healthy cuisine. I'm certified in nutrition and wellness and sports medicine and
hey, I'm healthy.
and in lifestyle management from.
What are you trying
Harvard.
to say, Chef? What are you trying to say?
Well,
I'm the embodiment of health.
They can see you, Eddie. You can't talk like that. They know.
I know.
And if anybody's ever eaten in his blood sugar, let me just tell you, that's not one of those things you just have one of.
Yeah,
you have to have several sliders. You have to have several hush puppies.
Right.
So, hush puppies are not in my repertoire, if you will. Not to say that I don't enjoy them once in a while, but you do that well. For me, it's more about really lifestyle management for the people who have comorbidities associated with obesity, or maybe not, just because, and it's something like diabetes and heart disease, and trying to help people control that through their diet.
Right. Well, just to be completely clear out there, folks, we actually preach moderation. So, although we offer some of those things, we also have salads and seared ahi at the same time. So.
No, your truck is a beautiful thing. It's 100% amazing. But the difference is that I've dedicated. See, that's not. Come on, look at that cheese and that meat and that bread. I mean, that's what my
look
whole.
At that picture right there. That's soy chorizo, actually.
Yeah, right there, 1,800 calories, right there. That would go straight to my Mexican butt, right there. No way. See, no, you know what? You cook beautifully. It's just not something that. There's differences. Like I wouldn't have used chorizo. I would have used chorizo. And that's the difference.
That's what it is.
It's chorizo, really?
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
That's actually a new offering that we have on our truck, and we have. And you're 100% right. And actually, firefighters in particular. On average, there's 100 firefighters that die every year throughout the United States, and the number one leading cause is heart disease. So we are trying to become more responsible, and just in terms of our recipes and the things the choices. It's all about choices because I do personally believe in moderation. So, but having said that, we want to give better choices to the people out there, and let them know, kind of like what you mentioned, that there's a lot of those things that you take in, whether it's dairy or whether it's some of those meat products. They are high in calories. So we definitely want to educate the firefighters and the general public about what we do. And obviously thank you very much. Thank you. And you obviously do that with your healthy eating campaign. So if you want to, let's get back on that subject again and tell us about when your next event is or how people could actually find out what that entails.
Well, they can go to cheflala.com to see all the upcoming events. I'm not sitting in front of I didn't know you were going to ask me where I'm going to be next, but the best way to be is to go to cheflala.com or go to my Facebook fan page, which is Chef Lala Fan, and that's the best place to find out where I'm going to be next and what I'm going to be doing. But you're right about the heart disease. You know, 1 out of every 2 people, or especially women, find out they're going to have massive heart disease by having a massive heart attack. So it's something that we do have to be aware of. We do have to take care of ourselves. But it can be delicious, Eddie. You and I know that. I mean, just by simply changing a couple of quick and easy things, you can make it healthier. You know, change out the lard for a little bit of olive oil.
Sure, I agree.
You know, bake. Steam, boil, barbecue. Those are all healthy cooking methods. Use wonderful flavor enhancers. I'm so glad you're talking about peppers today because that's a great way. Because you know what? Whoever says fat isn't flavor has never had my dad's carnitas. So, you know, fat is wonderful flavor. And so what happens when you take that fat off, you take off that wonderful pleasure of the texture and the flavor of food. So what happens is you have to really kind of replace it with something else. And herbs and spices and peppers are a great way to go about it.
No, I totally agree. And since you're willing to stay with us for the next segment, we'll kind of dive into the peppers for the next segment, and there's lots of different things we can cover in that subject. So I wanted to ask you about your specific influence to the Latin community out there, and just obviously you are a role model, and in the Latin community especially, there is a lot of people that have heart disease, that have diabetes, that have hypertension, a lot of those things. So, you know, how do you kind of see yourself? Because I know that you do a lot of stuff on the Latin American TV broadcasts, in particular Univision, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
But I also do it on you know, we are the majority, Eddie. You know, us Latinos, we're the majority.
Yeah.
So, you know, I see myself as someone who's an educator. Sometimes I just teach people a healthier way. Sometimes I just remind people of what they need to do or what they should do or what they can do. It's really about an individual choice to live a better quality of life. So they're just little tips that help people make better choices. Which I think we all should. We should take a hold of our lives. And sometimes I think that it is a shame that Latinos are leading the numbers, and a lot of these diseases that we have that are related to and can be controlled by diet.
Right.
And a lot of it has to do with education. And so, but now people are really starting to come to, and people are hungry for information. So that's what's wonderful that you have this moment on your show to be able to promote wellness the way you're doing.
Well, thank you, and we definitely want to do that, and we have to start somewhere. So, and it's great that you're able to kind of be with us tonight and bring some of these very, very important topics up. And it's cool that you were able to tell the fans out there of Firehouse Chefs Radio how to go to your fan page on Facebook and also to your website and find more information about your products, which we'll actually kind of get into your products as well when we come back from the commercial break. But just everything that encompasses what you're about. So I think there's a lot of great information for people to find out about you. Are you still there, Chef?
I'm still here. I was just letting you finish your thoughts. And I'm just looking at your buddy there. Hi, how you doing? What you doing? I usually have to date a guy before he ignores me. What's going on?
Well, Chef Don is.
I'm blushing is what I'm doing right now.
Chef Don, I was waiting for you to kick in, honey. Say something.
He's going to kick in.
I'm going to kick in next episode. So actually,
I love your input. I love your insight, and that's why I'm eager to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, he's really an amazing chef himself, and we are going to be joined by Chef Lala in the next segment. You're listening to FHC Radio on the Rant Radio Network. 855-969-RANT, 855-969-RANT.
Don't burn anything down. Firehouse Chefs will be right back.
News in America. Tonight's headline story, Rant Radio Network. Miss the show? That's okay. You can catch it 24 hours a day. This just in. Want your own radio show? Call us at 855-969-RANT. That is 855-969-7268, and you'll become the headline.
We are the Three Guys Rant with Arvin, Mike, and Phil.
Coming to you on the Rant Radio Network every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can call us at 855-69 The Three Guys.
It's not the Three Guys. This is why you should turn in, because one has Tourette's. The other one's illiterate.
You really should listen in. You never know what's going to happen.
855-69-3-GUYS. G-U-Y-S and the number 3, not the.
Faces for radio, voices for the deaf.
Look forward to talking to you.
Hey, I'm audio candy. I don't know about you guys.
Hey, bro, this is a good game. You know what would make it better?
What, bro?
A michelada.
A michelada? What's a michelada?
A michelada is somewhere in the middle of a Mexican Bloody Mary and a Mexican margarita.
Oh, I got you covered, bro.
You got a cup in your pocket?
No, sir. I got my pocket-sized michelada. Mucho macho michelada.
Pocket size?
Pocket size, so you can take it with you anywhere you go.
Where'd you get that at?
At the nearest convenience store, and you can also buy it at muchomachomichelada.com.
You know what would make it better? After we get drunk, if they had a line we could call.
We can call their drunk line. You can leave a message and then log on to the site and listen to your stupidity afterwards.
What's that number?
It's 855-MICHE-69.
What's that number again?
855-MICHE-69.
Awesome. Mucho macho michelada.
Hi, I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez.
And I'm Kelly V. Dolan.
And we are excited to announce our show Live with Aaron and Kelly is on Rant Radio Network. What do we talk about on our show, Kelly?
We talk about everything from entertainment to business and tech, and we have a few laughs in between.
That's right. Go check us out on rantradionetwork.com. That's rantradionetwork.com.
Check it out.
What's up, guys? Sports Guru
and Bud Knocker
from the Sportscast, Wednesdays, 12 to 2 Pacific on Rant Radio Network.
We got everything you need to know about sports. We got all the latest video highlights. We got You Got Knocked the Fuck Out. We got Bonehead of the Week. We're talking sports, drinking beer, and having a good time.
If you missed the show, go to rantradionetwork.com and listen on demand. So check us out every Wednesday, 12 to 2 on Rant Radio Network.
You're listening to What Honesty Feels Like with Christine Sawicki that airs every Tuesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can catch us on rantradionetwork.com. If you're one of the most successful people in the world, I want to talk to you. I want to know how you got there, where you're going, and who you're giving back to. So call me at 855-969-7268 and check in with me, the most successful people in the world.
Welcome to FireHouse Chefs. I'm your host, Eddie Sell, and I will take you on a journey with America's chefs, firefighters, service industry professionals, and more as we discuss food, recipes, nutrition, and lifestyle topics. Stay tuned and enjoy the ride. Welcome back to FHC Radio, FireHouse Chefs Radio. I'm your host, Eddie Sell, and I'm joined by Chef Don, my trusty companion and culinary professional. And this time he is going to talk, so don't worry about that. He is going to definitely say a few words. The phone number again is 855-969-RANT, 855-969-RANT. We are joined by Chef Lala, chef extraordinaire, cookbook author.
Hey.
Hi there. Thanks for staying with us on FireHouse Chefs Radio. And we wanted to pick up where we left off in the last segment, but I actually wanted to start with your product line and make sure that we discussed that before we moved on to the peppers and the wonderful world of peppers. We're looking at your cookbooks right now. How many cookbooks have you actually authored now?
I've authored 3 books. One's called Best Love Mexican Cooking. Okay. That was my second book. And then my very first book, which is called Latin Lover Light. And then I did one for the state of California for First 5, which people can go on my website to get a free download. It's called Yummy for Your Tummy. And it's in English and in Spanish, and it's healthy cooking tips for your kids. Okay,
that's very, very cool. And as far as like what was the inspiration behind a lot of the recipes within your cookbooks? Was that just from some of the upbringing from your family, just a combination of that along with your culinary travels?
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with my family's cooking. But, Eddie, at the same time, 3 of my 4 grandparents had diabetes. My parents both have it. 7 out of my 8 uncles have it.
Wow.
So I felt a need to have, I had to address this double-edged sword of this love for food at the same time, be able to address how to make it healthier. So I took these traditional recipes and tweaked them a little bit without losing the essence of the culture and the flavor and the celebration of who we were, and just making it a little bit healthier by reducing a lot of fat and the calories that were not necessary.
Okay, and for those of you that are watching us on firehousechefs.com and rantradionetwork.com, we actually saw your product line of your sauces and your salsas. Can you tell us about those, the inspiration behind them, and more importantly, where folks can find them?
Yeah, you know what happened with Eddie's? A lot of people, what I learned over time was people were skipping meals, or they were just eating out a lot, or making bad choices in general just because they didn't have time. They said, if I only had a little bit of help in the kitchen. And so I searched high and low to see what products were necessary and what we were lacking in the market. And being Latina, I really love my culture, and so I wanted to have myself in people's homes if I could. So basically, sometimes when you make something, it takes, $40 by the time you're done with one recipe because you have to buy all these ingredients. So with my marinade, it's really simple. You just take the marinade whatever protein you're going to eat in the morning, and put it in a little plastic bag. And then at night when you come home, you can grill it or cook it. So it's that simple. You're not having to chop, slice, dice, and buy a lot of different ingredients. And it's all natural, no colors, no flavorings. It was really important to me that I was being able to provide a really good product, a really good quality product, because if my overall purpose for this was to help people live healthier lives, it had to be just that. So so now they're available here in Southern California at Vaughn's and at Burlington. But this radio, obviously, anybody can listen to it. So the best thing to do is go to my website, cheflala.com, and it lists the stores.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, Chef Lala, I have a question for you. I have a couple of them.
Hi, sweetheart. You're going to make it spicy for me?
Oh, yes, ma'am. And I'm blushing again. I've heard you mention your family a number of times. I'm always curious when I talk to chefs, how is it that your family inspired you? I understand they were restaurateurs, but right down to it. I mean, your dad, you mentioned your dad in a dish that he made, and your uncles. How is it that they brought you to where you are today?
Well, both my grandfather and my father were chefs, so I can, we're talking about lunch, and we're having lunch, and we're talking about what we're going to have for dinner. That's just the way it is in our household. And so my father, though, particularly, I was a tomboy, and I was stuck to my father's apron strings, if you will, and I just admired the way he just magically converted raw ingredients into just this amazing dish, and as well as just even taking leftovers and converting it into something so beautiful. And my father didn't have any limitations, and he wasn't even trained, but he was always making us world cuisine. He was always making us Asian food, or Italian food, or I remember his best dish he used to say was meatloaf, and that's so American. And so he was always dabbling in new ways of cooking, and it always came out so magical. So that's why he inspired me. I just really wanted to be able to produce and reproduce the magic that he did in the kitchen. Now, don't get me wrong, my mother's a good cook too. My mother just kind of always just kept it a little healthier. That was just always her style. And where my mother's from, which is Colima, it's a coastal town. Everything is fresh. There's a lot of coconut. There's a lot of seafood. Everything's light and airy. So that was just generally her style of cooking. But, the best moments of my life have happened around the kitchen table. So obviously there's a nostalgia there for what I've enjoyed as a child. And I want to pass it on to the next generation, which is my son. And he jumps right up on a little stool and helps me out in the kitchen. We want to pass this on. The most intimate peek you could have into someone's culture is through their food.
I couldn't agree more with you. So now my next question to follow up on all of that, in watching your family cook and being there with your dad and your mom, then going to culinary school, what is your favorite pepper and how do you use it in your cuisine?
Oh, honey, I like it spicy, like my men. Well,
I'm going to go home looking sunburnt.
Yeah, exactly. There is no right. I don't think that there's a one-size-fits-all for everything. It depends on what you're cooking. All joking aside, the Naga Viper pepper is the hottest. Everybody thinks it's usually the habanero, but no, the red Savina's habanero is the hottest. But the more common one is the orange one or the Scotch bonnet one, and that's still. When you're talking about the Naga Viper, that's a million on the scale, whereas the habanero is only like a 350. The one I usually buy at my home most in my home for spicing things up is I like the Serrano. It doesn't have that grassiness that the jalapeno has. And for cooking like exotic dishes or homemade dishes that I feel like my mother made, I'll buy poblano peppers a lot and roast them and peel them and add them to a dish with like corn and chicken and things like that. So there's no answer to that question. In all fairness, I love the Japanese chilies that are dry. You toast them, blend them with tomatoes and onion and garlic, and you have a beautiful salsa. It just depends on the application.
What about blending them, Chef? What about taking you mentioned the grassiness of the jalapeno, and using your serranos, taking the serrano and then taking a little bit of the jalapeno and just bring it in to bring a little bit of that grass, a little bit of the, I call it the field, that you can get out of that. Where do you go with that in your peppers?
I mean, I don't usually I use one or the other for the most part, especially with raw salsas. I will use jalapenos more for cooking. I love the flavor of jalapeno when it's been cooked down. I also like it when it's been roasted, the same application. I roast it and then dice it and put it in. But when I'm just doing a throw-together salsa, I grow serranos here at my house, and that's my usual just kind of, works across the board type of pepper. But, once again, it depends on what it is that I'm making, because sometimes I don't want to add the spice until the very end. So that's not something that usually I want to do, with everything. And for those people who want to explore with this, jalapenos grow in 70 days. If you plant one in your garden, less than 3 months later, you'll have them. So it's something that's fairly easy and inexpensive to do, and you could actually benefit from having a wonderful little garden and having these on hand at all times.
What about the Anaheim or the New Mexican chilies? Do you play with those, and if so, where do you go with that?
Yeah, I do use those a lot. I use those, once again, more for, I like chileranas, or I use them a lot when I'm stewing meats slowly. So, slice them, saute them with onions and garlic, and then, after you've browned your meat, and then just cover and let it rock and roll for about an hour till the meat is nice and tender, and let the flavors of the peppers marry with your meats, and it complements it nicely. The only thing that's tricky about Anaheim is it's kind of like a date. You don't really know what you're getting.
True. Very true.
It's like a blind date. So if you have children or a family, it's one of those things that you don't want to mess with, because, there's times where they are spicy. So, it's a toss-up. So if you're cooking for an entire family, when you have different flavors going on and you have different palates, you probably don't want to use that across the board for a family meal. Now, there's two of you that you're cooking for and you both like spicy. Take the chance. But, that's one of those peppers where you never know what you're getting.
Okay, Chef, we're about 2 minutes away from our next break, and I know you got to get going. Make me a chili relleno that's healthy. How do you do it?
It's easy. You just don't bread it. You just don't fry it and bread it. So you take your chili, you roast it, you put it on the fire and let it get charred, and then you throw it in a plastic bag so that it sweats, and then run it under water and peel all that extra char off, and you slice it, and then you fill it with healthy fillings. You use lean meat, lean ground beef, lean turkey, whatever, and or even just a bunch of vegetables. In Mexico, we use nuts and dates and apples, and combined with like a veal and pork mixture. And then to make it extra flavorful, you can make a sort of tomato sauce to put in it, like a warm, what we call in Spanish, caldillo, to set the pepper and to warm it back up. But the what makes it terrible is when you coat it with egg and then deep fry it in lard. That's what really kills the chile relleno. And stuffing it with cheese.
Yep. And with that, Chef Lala, we're coming up on our next break, and we just wanted to thank you again for coming on Firehouse Chefs Radio. It's been a great couple of segments. We've learned a ton. And once again, go ahead and let everybody out there know how they can get a hold of you, your website information, and your social media.
Sure, they can visit me on cheflala.com, or they can go to Facebook, Chef Lala Fan, or Twitter, Chef Lala. I'd love to answer any questions that anybody may have. And thank you for listening. And you guys, thank you for having me on. And most of all, thank you, firefighters, for all that you do for all of us.
Thank you so much. And we can't wait to have you actually in studio next time when you're able to visit.
Definitely. Thank you for that.
And Chef, I'm looking forward for the three of us getting together and doing some cooking and some eating.
Amen.
I would love that. Next time I'm going to surprise you guys in the studio with some healthy chile rellenos. How's that?
Perfect.
That's perfect.
Thanks again, Chef Lala. You're listening to FHC Radio, Firehouse Chefs Radio on the Rant Radio Network. Our telephone number is 855-969-RANT, 855-969-RANT. we're coming back for one more segment. We're going to finish up the topic of peppers. Go ahead and give us a call if you have any
Don't
questions
burn
or
anything
comments.
down. Firehouse Chefs will be right back.
What up, foodie freaks? It's Chef Bev Lazo with the Culinary Trend Show. Join me and my brigade every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m. where we will be cooking up some crazy stuff that will give you the appetite for discussion. It's all about the good food, good friends, and good times. Only here on RantRadioNetwork.com.
What's up, everyone? Sports Guru here. Sick of looking at the same old boring websites? Well, check out thenewsportsguru.com for all the hottest trending videos and all the biggest sports news. Become a VIP for only $4.99 and get premium access to everything the Sports Guru has to offer. The beautiful gurus girls, all my biggest sports picks, and much more. So get off that porn site and check out thenewsportsguru.com.
The experts know that for pastry, Baker's Bodega has it all. Exclusive brands like Westco Bankmart, Satin Ice, and Pastry Pride. One-on-one day seminars for cake decorating and gelatin art. So for our service, wide range of ingredients and supplies, and for the low prices, Baker's Bodega has it all. But you don't need to be an expert. Baker's Bodega, 7869 Paramount Boulevard in Pico Rivera. Come, we're waiting for you.
Hi, I'm Alex Alanis.
And I'm Alonso Rodriguez.
And we are Real Estate Rant. Every Wednesday morning between 10 and 11 a.m.
here at the towers of Rant Radio Network.
No problems, just solutions. Be sure to call in with your real estate problems, rants, questions, or comments, and let us try to find you a solution.
Tell us about an experience, good or bad,
and finally bury the hatchet once and for all.
In the world of real estate, find a fresh perspective. There's a lot more than meets the eye.
Help us to ensure the public trust, one rant at a time.
DM Narc Radio Show is now airing on the Rant Radio Network. You've heard the three guys Rant refer to us as the Clam Chowder Power Hour. Now we get to bring our New England humor over to Los Angeles. We'll be airing Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 Eastern, and we'll cover everything from local to national politics and news. Guess what? We're uncensored too. I'm Dave. Join me and Nick Friday on the Rant Radio Network.
We're the Brothers Bear Podcast Live, and I'm your host, Sanch, and I'm always joined by
Edgar, Carlos Medrano, and this is a show where we talk about comics, movies, TV, video games, stand-up, music, and many more geeky things. Catch us live on Rant Radio Network on Mondays from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m.
That's another commercial in the back.
Welcome to Firehouse Chefs. I'm your host, Eddie Sell, and I will take you on a journey with America's chefs, firefighters, service industry professionals, and more as we discuss food, recipes, nutrition, and lifestyle topics. Stay tuned and enjoy the ride. Welcome back to Firehouse Chefs Radio. I am your host, Eddie Sell, and I'm joined by my co-host, Chef Don. And once again, the phone number here is 855-969-RANT, 855-969-RANT. And you're
That's
watching.
Terribly sexy.
Well, thank you. I try. You are watching and hearing us at rantradionetwork.com or firehousechefs.com. And continue to watch our social media and on my site and also at the Rant Radio Network site to kind of find out about archiving the shows. And once Arvin has this whole thing figured out and he doesn't make it back to the Betty Ford Center, then that'll be a good place to start. What do you got for me? Come on. There you go. As you can see, if you're watching us right now, you could see one of our Facebook pages, and if you just search Firehouse Chefs, this is one of our like pages. We also have one that's specific to the food truck, and that is FHC Food Truck if you're in Southern California. And as we've mentioned in prior episodes of FHC Radio, we are working on getting these Firehouse Chefs food trucks all over the country. So it's pretty exciting right now, some of the things that we have in the works. but unfortunately, it doesn't happen quick, right, Chef? Kind of like making delicious meals. They don't happen right away. There's a lot of care and time and I don't want to say sacrifice because I actually love cooking and we have fun with it. But I would say the preparation part of things that takes a little bit of time. So, but without you, without the Firehouse Chefs community, without the support and the people that have commented on all the great things and watching us grow, you could see some of the pictures that we have up here. And when I see them, I just remember growing basically as far as the events, as far as just the watching the business kind of continue to do new and exciting things. We have new partners all the time, just different people, and we are 100% firefighters as far as our investment team. So it's pretty cool. And now that we've kind of switched a lot of gears and we're involved in a lot of business deals and that sort of a thing, it's cool kind of getting the fire service out there to people that may not have ever known this side of things. And obviously food happens to be the vehicle that takes us there. But all in all, we're learning about the fire service. We're learning about what firefighters do day in and day out, how they do sacrifice themselves for essentially strangers. And that's the commitment that firefighters give to that community they serve every single day. It's that insurance policy. And I'm saying this because I actually had a conversation this morning with a good friend of mine that's a captain for my fire department, and he's also the creator of the Firehouse Chefs logo, and he'll be on a future show. But we were having this conversation just about essentially what firefighters do, just in terms of their sacrifice, the core values that they have in them day in and day out, and they do this job for strangers. They do it for people that they're never going to see again, or we're obviously willing to lay down our life for property or another life. So it's a pretty noble profession, and I'm very, very proud to be associated with those types of people. And that's probably one of the most rewarding things about Firehouse Chefs is the fact that we've had the ability to network with folks not only here in California, but around the United States and even around the world. So, and again, you folks out there are now part of our community as well. And so hopefully you're going to learn a lot more about fire service traditions, about specifically the food, because there are a lot of differences. And if you've listened to some of the prior 6 episodes, with Kip Ricks calling from New Mexico or Michael Poole in Seattle, there are differences. There are things that are unique to those fire departments and those agencies that culturally is really, really fun to talk about. So as we get callers from the East Coast, Midwest, all these other places around the country, you're going to learn more and more of that insight. So it looks like we might have a call. I do see something lit up, so we'll see once we get the word here from our engineer. But, Chef, we do want to continue talking about peppers. And once we see whether or not we have a caller on line 1, which it looks like we do.
I'll be. Let me check here, Chef. I think we have. It sounds like we've got a caller on line 1.
All right. Welcome to FHC Radio.
Caller, you there?
I am. Hello, good evening.
Hi there.
I have a question for Chef Don. Actually, it's not a food-related question, but because you're firemen, what is the history behind having firehouses having Dalmatians? And I'm sure, do you guys have a Dalmatian dog at your station?
Not where I work, because it probably gets stolen. So, but
no, we don't. And actually, the history behind the Dalmatian, it goes way back to the horse-drawn steamers and the horse-drawn hose carts. The Dalmatian didn't actually ride on the steamer or the hose cart. That dog basically annoyed the horses and helped drive the horses to the scene of the emergency.
Oh, okay.
And then later on, the Dalmatian became part of the symbol of the fire service and it just through the years it has carried on. But it was a working dog in the beginning, way back when. Now, I did not ride on a steamer or have horses. I'm not that old. But in the history books that I've read and in taking a number of history classes within the fire service, the Dalmatian was actually a working dog and was to help drive and guide the horses.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay, I was just curious about that.
Real quick before you go, one of the topics tonight was chilies. And do you happen to cook with chilies, or are you a fan of heat?
I don't. My husband does all the cooking, and I am not a fan of heat.
Okay.
I don't like spicy food. I don't know what it is. I'm Latina as well, and I can't take it. I can't take the heat.
Huh. Okay.
Well, that's okay. There's still a lot of
Thank
great
you,
food
Arvin.
Yeah.
See, now that really wasn't necessary, but that's okay. But yeah. But thank you very much. It was a great interview It was a nice interview with Chef Lala. It's a lot of interesting information, and thank you both for everything that you guys do. Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much for being a fan of FHC Radio. We appreciate the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Show me some respect, boy. Okay, so let's get back on the topic of chilies, because FHC Radio is winding down tonight. So obviously there's an array of peppers, like we mentioned before, peppers and chilies, and they're fresh and dry, and they both have great uses. And Chef Lala actually kind of brought up, just in her conversing with us about different things, brought up some of the tricks. Like she did mention roasting.
The roasting.
Right, and there's several ways to do it, but one of the easiest ways is literally you could take one of those fresh poblanos or red bell pepper, any type of pepper basically, and you can literally, with tongs of course, because we don't advocate burning your fingers or your hands off, but you can actually just roast them over an open flame on your stovetop. And once that skin gets blackened, completely blackened all the way around it, you basically just take those peppers and place them into a bowl, and you cover them. She mentioned a plastic bag. Again, there's different ways to do it, whether it's a plastic bag or you could put them in a bowl, cover that bowl with plastic wrap. Just sit them on your counter, leave them alone, don't touch them for a few minutes, come back, and literally you can just peel that charred skin right off, and then that now has given you a delicious roasted pepper that you don't have to get out of a can.
That's true. That's true. I actually, not being of Hispanic descent, but being of German and Norwegian, believe it or not, I like the jalapeno. I like to roast them, to grill them. I actually make a roasted jalapeno tequila cream sauce.
I've had it. It is delicious, by the way. It's delicious. And on, and that's, if you continue to stay tuned to Firehouse Chefs Radio, we will do those recipes here for you in studio, and kind of do little demos on showing you how to do that. So that's an excellent sauce that you make, Chef.
And the other pepper I really enjoy working with is the poblano, and it goes two ways, because I can dry it. I do have a dryer at home, and when you dry it, it becomes the ancho chili,
right.
And that flavor. I mean, so when I use a roasted poblano and then I take some of the ancho and put it into some of the salsas, it just changes it way up, and it's going to be fun getting Chef Lala down to play with that kind of stuff. Now we'll have to eat baked chips to keep her happy, but that's okay.
You know what? Okay. Don't let her fool you guys, because I was doing an event, and I made a chipotle hollandaise, and she loved it, put it that way. So I know she can indulge in a couple things that aren't exactly healthy for you. Again, moderation, right? And that's what we try to tell folks here, is that it's okay to eat a little bit of the bad stuff when the majority of the time you're eating the healthier foods, stuff that's not in a can, stuff that you're going to get at the farmer's market, and whatever is in season. Obviously, the more local, the better. And when you know your purveyors, when you have that kind of relationship with your purveyors, with the people that you're getting your protein choices from, your produce from, it's just great, because who better than to get the insight on what the catch of the day is, if you will, from your fishmonger, or Wouldn't you agree, Chef?
Yep. Get to know your produce people. Go to your supermarket. Get to know everybody in there.
Right.
The butcher, the fishmonger, your cheese people, the people putting out the fresh veggies.
With that, we can't tell you enough that there's a lot of resources out there. Please go online, look up peppers, get creative in the kitchen, and just remember that stay tuned every Wednesday from 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for Firehouse Chefs Radio on the Rant Radio Network, also at firehousechefs.com. And we can't thank you enough for joining us today, Episode 7. We continue to get a little bit better at this every week. Stay tuned for our social media posts so you can find our show archive. Chef, nice having you again.
Find our food truck. Find our food truck.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, firehousechefs.com.
Thanks for tuning in to FHC Radio. Catch us every Wednesday, 8 to 9 p.m. Pacific Time by visiting firehousechefs.com and rantradionetwork.com.